Consider this, a news and information program recorded on the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. From the Fireside Lounge in the Milo Bales Student Center, here is your host, Carol Schrader.
Welcome back to the University of Nebraska at Omaha. I think one of the continuing sagas that I've covered over the last 30-some years in news has been the ups and downs of the Omaha Housing Authority, that public body that gets federal funding and other funding and help provide homes for people, a very important item. Brad Ashford, former state senator, is now the executive director of the Omaha Housing Authority. You served on the board, and then
I did serve on the board.
They bumped you up.
They bumped me up. I left the board, and then a year later, they asked me to come back.
So you have been on the periphery, like I have, of seeing the ups and downs of the Housing Authority. I mean, we went through the major influx of public housing. We went through the, well, in Omaha, what they call the Little Vietnam, the Logan Fontenelle, that whole concentric mass of people up there, and some of the subsequent problems that were just bound to happen, and then sort of the decentralization in terms of locating public housing, and now kind of going back to the heart of some of the areas. It's been a long storied history.
It's exciting, Carol. I think that you've hit it. I mean, there was the public housing has gone through many different changes, and we've seen many of them. And actually, the Omaha Housing Authority is one of the oldest housing authorities in the country. Started in the early 30s. And obviously over those years things have changed, and you're right, there was a time going back maybe 15, 20 years, and even to some extent up till the present day, where there was an effort to place public housing, or Section 8, whatever you want to call it, into various parts of the city, and that effort still goes on, but there's now a renewed interest, and it's a real healthy, exciting interest in going back into some of the older neighborhoods of Omaha, both in North Omaha and South Omaha and Central Omaha, and do some exciting things. And it's just very exciting to see the rejuvenation of the neighborhoods anyway. And they've been rejuvenated in many ways with many other groups, housing groups, and the city of Omaha, Mayor Fahey has made it a significant emphasis. So yes, you're right, there is a trend, and it's neat. It's fun to see.
We're going to talk about some specifics, but let's talk first about, and this is a problem all across Nebraska, but it's just the numbers are bigger because we live in a more populated part of the state. Housing stock, affordable housing stock. I mean, even if, you know, you're in public housing, so it's publicly assisted housing. Correct. And in terms of finances, but even that is hard to find. There is not, for sale or for rent, a lot of affordable housing and we're not just talking about the federal poverty guidelines. We're talking about for anyone even slightly above that anymore.
Exactly. I mean, the need for affordable housing in Omaha is immense, and anywhere from the very lowest income up to what most people would consider middle class, really. And there's just a tremendous need for affordable housing.
Yeah, they're building those bigger homes. I mean, we hear about
it. Yeah, there's a lot. There are numbers of bigger homes.
Right, and that's nothing wrong with that. But you hear about the building boom. It really didn't.
No,
move down the
scale. It did not, but it's starting, but it did not. And many builders in Omaha now are beginning to build affordable housing, either multifamily or single family kinds of homes. And there's a great deal of rehab of some pretty significant buildings now in Omaha for affordable housing. So no, the need totally outweighs the supply at this point, and all of our studies, market studies, would reflect that. And the need is everywhere. It's North Omaha, South Omaha, West Omaha. Especially the biggest need really is in Southwest Omaha for affordable housing. In the next 5 years, affordable housing needs in Southwest Omaha exceed any other part of the city. So it isn't centralized in one area of the town, that's for sure.
Right, and this is not a socioeconomic editorial, but the money tends to follow west in this part. In other words,
well, people have moved
the bigger
west.
And the better, the bigger and the better and the newer.
Some of that is because land is less expensive.
Right, and I have heard that problem.
Relatively less expensive.
Right, for Habitat for Humanity and the Holy Name Housing Association.
And they do a great job.
You know, finding affordable land in areas where people want to live. If they're African American, we've got Sudanese refugees, we've got Hispanic or Latino immigrants of all kinds that are here legally, I should say. That many are. Yeah, like Habitat and those places do for legal immigrants. There's a lot of misunderstanding.
Well, there are illegal immigrants here, but there clearly is a need for many groups. We have over 400 Sudanese immigrants that live at the Housing Authority, and it's a great group of people, and they're coming here. They're hardworking, and so I think it's the we see a lot of social change and a lot of need.
So, you mentioned rehabbing old.
Yes.
Rehabbing old. There's one you were telling me about.
Yes, we're very excited about one of our rehabs that we're doing now over on 16th and Grace, and we all have heard about the near north development extending from the Quest Center to Creighton. Well, we think it ought to be extended to Lake Street and beyond, quite frankly, because there's so many exciting things going on. And Frank Brown, Councilman Brown, who's been in the City Council for 8 years, was just reelected and is the chairman of our board, has done a wonderful job of identifying some really neat projects, and one of the neatest ones is the Ernie Chambers Court, which is this was a building, 3 massive apartments that were built in around 1907 by a man by the name of Strelo, and he was a contractor in the Trans-Mississippi Exposition, and in fact lived in one of the buildings throughout his life. It was really a luxury apartment complex, one of the first apartment complexes in Omaha. It was a luxury apartments. And it had been redeveloped in the 80s, and it was a failed redevelopment. Now, OHA and its development affiliate, Housing in Omaha, will be developing it with tax credits starting this week, really. It's a wonderful 70 units of low income and also some affordable housing as well. So it's going to be a mixed income, public housing and tax credit units, and it's just going to be, we're excited. It's an historic structure. It's on the historic register. We're being very careful to make sure that we are maintaining the historic integrity of the building.
Which sometimes makes it a little more
It's more expensive. Well, it is more expensive.
But then it's a show.
It's going to be a
showpiece.
showplace. In fact, there's a fountain in the middle of the building, middle of the courtyard, that was at the Trans-Mississippi Exposition. So it gives you, there's a real connector there. So we're proud at OHA to be a part of historic preservation and providing living units for all sorts of people.
If we have a lot of viewers that aren't in the Omaha area, but one of the kind of, I guess, more public stumbling items the past year and a half too was the Keystone area, which was a near northwest Omaha, and it was some nice bigger lots, and then some not so expensive lots, and you trying to move into more diverse areas of town. You wanted to put some houses there, and it was kind of a hard sell. That's an understatement.
It was hard, and it was very difficult, and change is difficult, and I understand that, but we're very excited about the Keystone homes. They 41 single-family homes will be developed on a little over 7 acre piece of ground there. The families who reside there will be on our incentive home ownership list, meaning people who will be preparing for home ownership. They will have the opportunity to live in a diverse Omaha neighborhood, Keystone on 90th and Boyd, near good schools, lots of different kinds of houses in the Keystone area. I think hopefully, I believe that the homes we are going to be building, being designed by Allie Pointer, are really wonderful homes. We're excited about it, and we're anxious for the people who live there to be part of the Keystone neighborhood and to have the advantage, really, of living in an established neighborhood like Keystone. Yes, it was. Some of these things are not easy.
How many did you start out that you wanted?
Well, initially, before I came on board, I think they had talked about somewhere around they were more multifamily units, 80 or so multifamily units, and it was reduced to 57. And then when we came in about a year and a half ago, we took a look at it and thought that it would be excellent to have them be single-family homes with some duplexes.
Yeah, where they sort of fit in the platting.
But to make them public streets, so that there wasn't this sense of it being cordoned off from the rest of the neighborhood. There'll be public streets, public access, obviously, no fences around it. It's going to be part of the neighborhood, and we're going to work very hard, and hopefully, and with the neighbors there, to make it work for everyone. So
you realize, because this is the first really big cluster of houses, you've put outside of the traditional areas
Yes.
where public housing is, that this has got to work.
It will work, and I believe in our city, and we are one community, and it will work. It will work. It will work. People are Omahans are great people, and they're community oriented, and I'm convinced that it will work. And we have to work at it. And you're right. We have to work hard at it.
I mean, and part of that involves. Okay, let me step back a little bit from this. Back when, and I lose track of time, we're talking late 80s, early 90s, scattered site housing was the big thing.
Right.
If you build any, new houses or edifices or multifamily, that they had to be spread all over town,
Right.
and
that was the policy.
and that was the intent was good. Fortunately, some things are happening in North and South Omaha that make it almost desirable for some of our demographics to live back where it's happening and revitalizing.
Right.
But the thing is that with the rental housing and a lot of the Section 8 housing, which, that money funnels through you on Section 8.
Yes.
And people had a stereotype of, and some of it earned, of the people that were living in those houses because they had never been trained really. Maybe they didn't have the luxury. I mean, maybe they came from a home originally where, the lawn was mowed every week and dad knew how to fix the gutters and that. But a lot of, unfortunately, some of the folks just did not have that sort of
Right.
neighborhood good
Right.
housing experience. And so, the neighbors would get very upset.
Right.
And OHA had a really
Right.
bad reputation for a
Right.
time.
Well, I think the scattered site. You're absolutely right in your history. The scattered site program, and you have been watching this, as I know you have, is that it did start in the late 80s primarily, and it was in effect what was being done was there were numbers of what was called the old projects, Logan Fontanelle, Hilltop, near North Omaha, on 30th Street, around that area where Salem Baptist Church is now.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful area.
They downed Logan Fontanelle,
Right.
and raised it, thank the Lord,
Right.
and were able to and parlay some of that money into.
Right.
other
It went
things.
into HUD. Then said we'd like you to develop housing around the community. And the way that was done primarily, Carol, was by buying single-family homes throughout the community. And you're right. Some families didn't have a lot of background in owning a home or living in a single-family home because they were living in the project.
Yeah, right. It was just it was almost like moving into a foreign country in some respects.
But I can say that it has worked, but I think we've reached the point now where we have over 600 scattered site units in Omaha. We're one of the largest per capita scattered site communities in the country. For the most part, the homes, the people who live in scattered site have worked into the neighborhood that they live in. Many of the families have lived there for a number of years. Many of the families are looking at buying those homes now. So it's working, but it did take a while, but I think it's worked generally.
The interesting thing is that there was a lot of brouhaha, and there were a lot of inexperienced single-family home dwellers, and it came at a time where change was difficult.
Sure.
There were things change. It was.
Well, I think a lot of people.
The city was in transition.
Anyway.
With
Anyway.
regard to sort of
Right.
seamless social movement.
Right.
And but now, I mean, you said you have 600, one of the largest.
Right, per
scattered-
capita.
And other than occasional problems that crop up with, it could happen to any neighbor. They don't
Right.
have to be. You don't hear
Right.
that talked
No,
about
I mean
anymore,
it's
per
been
se.
it's worked pretty well. I mean we have complaints, but they're rare, and
But those would come from any.
right. Right. I mean, we have.
person that
and
rent
I
rented
think the
homes
public
out.
needs. I mean, people who go into scattered site homes come off what's called our incentive transfer list, and these are families who have had a good record with the housing authority, paying their rent, not being in any trouble with the law or their children acting out. I mean, with behavioral problems. These are families that really deserve to have a house. And now, what's very exciting is the housing authority is moving aggressively into the home ownership area.
This is a federal, not mandate, but a thrust of some of the
Right.
dollars that are coming
Exactly,
away.
and there are essentially two programs. There's a public housing home ownership program. I won't bore you with the details, but there's a public housing home ownership program that has certain criteria, and then there's a Section 8 home ownership program, which is a pretty nifty program where the voucher that you get when you get a Section 8 voucher can be used as the monthly payment on a new house or a house. So we are aggressively seeking out people in our program. There are 4,000 vouchers in Omaha and 2,800 public housing units. There are over 20,000 people, close to 20,000 people who live in public housing. And these, in one way, shape, or form. And these people, there are many of those people who certainly, I think, would like to have a home if they could, find a way to do it. And we have programs to help educate them. Housing in Omaha, there are other groups, Family Housing Advisory Services and others that provide advisory services. And it's a real push, you're right, by HUD, to let money be allocated to those programs. And it's working. And we need to do better. We need to really focus on home ownership. Not everyone's going to be able to do it, but many will, I think.
When the dollars come in and they're allowed to use it for that, is there anyone that oversees sort of the quality of the house?
Sure.
Like they have the old FHA, and
Sure.
it has to meet certain standards, so that they're not getting, these people aren't getting ripped off.
Sure, and that's you bring up a very good point.
And the neighbors will be happier if.
Right, I think we certainly the homes that we have, that we own, and we have the permission from HUD to sell some of those are homes that have met a yearly inspection, so
Right.
they're okay. Otherwise, homes that people go out into the market to buy, we do help them and seek out homes that are going to be low maintenance and that they go through classes.
Not money pits, as they used to.
Right, and we also want to make sure that they don't get, in a way that they have the kind of deal they can afford. So often, that's why I think our programs are healthy and solid, is that we want people to really be ready to buy a home before they buy one, so they don't get into a situation where if the taxes go up, then somehow they can't afford their home. And that's
real
happening.
typical, especially
it's
first-time home buyers.
It's happening.
Whether you're going through a
Right.
federal
Right.
that you can get
Right.
in above your head. That one
Right.
thing can throw you into
Right.
in chaos, financial chaos.
And it does. It does throw you in chaos. And we can't. We're not going to mandate people, but we're going to certainly prepare them. And we simply don't want people to have a bad experience, if possible. People that have lived with us. The idea is that public housing for many people should be a way out into home ownership or into the marketplace. So, we work hard at that, and we have programs to help in that regard.
Brad, there is a situation though that there will always be a need for rental.
Oh yeah.
Housing, and we have transitional people that just get out of
Yes.
school, graduate from high school, get their first job, downtown or whatever,
Right.
and we're in a terrible shortage of that. Some
Yes.
people with lower incomes, hardworking people, are
Right.
paying over 50% of their wages. They
Right.
don't meet the OHA standards. I know that's not your.
Well,
your bailiwick.
it is our concern, though, and you raise an excellent point, and especially in the downtown area where, really 50%, it is true. People are paying 50 and above, and that's too much. And we really need to, and we're helping in that area. We're looking at buildings downtown, a couple particularly that we're looking at for these affordable units. And we think there's a need in downtown Omaha for affordable housing. Let me tell you, the developers in downtown have done a great job in bringing it back. But then
those get to be higher end.
They're
and so
higher
you're not
end.
a
They're higher
diverse-
end, and there are numbers of jobs, service jobs, and as you say, first jobs out of school, where people need that help.
We don't want to. We would love to having all these nice condominium type buys, but
Right.
you don't want too much of a gentrification
Right.
of the situation where there then doesn't become the traditional amount of housing opportunities, apartment opportunities in a
Right.
downtown area.
You're right, and that's why we're looking at downtown. And it would be the first time that OHA or its affiliate, any affiliate of OHA, a housing authority, has really done anything in downtown. But we're looking at it, and we think there's a role to be played there for working families, working individuals, clearly who just can't afford the market rate, but who just need that initial help. And there are some of those units in downtown, and we'd like to make sure that they are maintained that way and well maintained. So
You mentioned to me before the show that your non-senior towers are
full.
full.
Yeah, I think that's about just today. Actually, I was told that we are 100% occupied in the 6 towers, which are quote unquote non-elderly, and we've just air conditioned all 4 elderly towers. So every unit so the elderly people who are retired, who would like to, who need some help in their housing, please think about us, because all of our units are air conditioned. They're in good neighborhoods, and we'd love to have them.
They are in pretty good
They are. I
neighborhoods,
mean,
and,
Underwood Towers, out on
Benson.
Benson. Well, the ones that are elderly are Evans Tower, which is in North Omaha. It's a totally rehab building. Underwood Tower, which is up on 49th and Underwood, and it's a beautiful building, and it's a great neighborhood. KJ Tower in South Omaha, and then our Crown Tower out on Sorensen Parkway on about 60th and Sorensen. So we have pretty nice units.
The one good thing is that our towers have never fallen, even with
No,
the ups and downs,
not like Chicago
never
or New York.
fallen victim to,
Right.
number one, they weren't so big.
Right.
I think that was probably a
They weren't
key.
so big, no.
And the other thing that, this happened before you came, but the real hardball game that OHA played, or maybe was forced to play, in terms of the use of drugs and things in their facilities. You know, once you got Logan Fontenelle raised and in their scattered site housing, being able to have that, the courts upheld your right to play hardball with.
And we do play hardball.
And
we do
I-
play hardball.
I think that has been a godsend for neighborhoods,
Right.
and for the people who have to live in.
Right, and we
those
work with the
complexes.
neighborhood groups, and they're fabulous neighbors and help us. But sure, we have all the problems that everybody else, every neighborhood has in society. We have them as well, and we have a one strike and you're out policy on all those sort of violations, and we have a public safety team of retired and active police officers that patrol our units and patrol all over the city, really, to help to make sure that those are enforced, those laws are enforced.
It's really helped neighbors, and then there's been the whole community policing that's helped. But
That's helped a lot.
That
Community
whole thing,
policing has helped a
take
lot.
back the neighborhood.
Right.
Well, sometimes in some neighborhoods, OHA was the main landlord.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
they couldn't really take back the neighborhood because everybody wasn't on the same page.
I mean, I
And
think
it's
we
made a
work very. I
difference.
think we work very hard at it, and we have a very strict policy on those issues.
And that went to court. I mean,
Oh yeah, I went to federal court, and in many housing authorities. In fact, there was a U.S. Supreme Court decision. I think it involved the Boston Housing Authority that came down, I think, at the end of last year, that reaffirmed the right of a housing authority to utilize a one strike and you're out policy, and that doesn't apply only to it's a one strike and you're out, not only to the tenant but to the tenant's family. So it's strict, and it has to be strict, and we.
So what's next? You're going to build some more houses?
Yes.
We're
going to build. We're excited about the 30 new homes that we're building in North Omaha this next year. Very excited with the support of NYFA, the Nebraska Investment Finance Authority, and the city. We're also looking, very interestingly, at very new modular housing.
Now that might make people kind of go,
there's a whole new industry out there. In fact, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's local company,
have you ever heard of that little
is
company?
involved in that business in Clayton Homes. We have our first modular house at 2505 Corby.
A great story here.
Great story. I received a call from my friend Senator Ernie Chambers yesterday, who indicated that he grew up at 2505 Corby, and he was so thrilled to see a nice house on that lot. And so what we're going to do, that's the first prototype, and then we plan hopefully to do 30 or so more modular homes that and use as home ownership opportunities for families. And let me tell you, they are nice. I invite anybody to go down to 2505 Corby. It is a spectacular home.
And these are basically where they pre-cut and
they're pre-cut,
so
and
that
then
there's
they
an
come
economy of scale in
right.
the production.
It takes
of
about 2 weeks to get them up, and they come in two pieces essentially, and then they're put together. And a garage is built on the side, a normal stick-built garage, and then some have basements, some don't, depending upon where they are. But there are numbers of vacant lots in North Omaha that thankfully have been preserved now, and it can be utilized by us and by Mercy House, or not, by Holy Name Housing and others, Habitat and other groups, to really do some good work. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the new construction, the modular, and we're very excited about some of the rehabs like Strela Chambers Court that's going on now.
What do you have in place for South Omaha?
Well,
It's a little stickier wicket, I think.
Well, South Omaha is different. In the sense, first of all, it doesn't have as many vacant lots. It's very interesting.
It's pretty dense.
Pretty dense, and so that's different. We do have one group of homes over there called South Omaha Terrace Homes, built 50 years ago.
They have that kind of strip.
They're sort of a little bit barracks looking. We're thinking about different ways of improving that area. That's certainly something that we're going to look at over the next couple of years. There's a great deal of development going on there with the Livestock Exchange building, the new library, the potentially having a new Salvation Army or YMCA over there. So there's just some good things happening. And we are in the process of acquiring actually 28 single-family homes over in South Omaha that we're excited about. From an existing nonprofit, so it's an exciting both north and south and central near downtown. There's a lot of development between 24th Street and the interstate that's exciting. We're just very excited to be part of the overall redevelopment of downtown and near North and South Omaha.
We just have about a minute left. Are you glad you took your job? I mean, you still have some energy and excitement about this. I thought people respected you, they liked you, but I think people were a little surprised when you took the job.
Well, I like the people I work with. The staff is amazing. Stan Tim is our finance director from the city. We have a wonderful property manager, senior man from Rockford, Illinois, Arson Rayford, and new Viv Ewing just joined us from ConAgra, and then the staff is wonderful. The board, Frank Brown has worked very hard in his part of town to really focus our efforts on doing some good work.
So
in North
OHA
Omaha.
is not the same OHA our parents grew up with.
It's new, and we're developing new homes, affordable homes in Omaha, and we hope to continue to do that.
Well, I want to thank you for being with us and bringing
Thank
us
you.
up to date, because it's an important part of the fabric of the housing community in Omaha. Former State Senator Brad Ashford, Executive Director OHA, thank you for joining us on Consider This.
Thanks very much, Carol.
Sure.
To view this edition of Consider This or past programs, visit our website at unotv.unomaha.edu. For comments or questions, call 402-554-2516 during regular business hours. Consider This is a production of UNO Television.